Hey guys, how are you doing today? So today I have a cat that's misbehaving. Oh, don't tear up my jacket. Ah! Ah! Anyways, you stay there and be pretty, okay? She's not gonna stay there. But she will stay pretty. Right, Burbs? Okay, bye. Please don't break anything. But boy, please don't break anything. There's another cat in my window. On my windowsill. Just hanging out. They were screaming at my door, so I didn't let them in. It'd just be Rah! At the top of their lungs. But anyways, a while back I did a video on self-love and how like I've grown to love myself. And I wanted to talk more kind of in depth about how to do that and how to, you know, openly love other people. And I mean it more so in the platonic way, not the intimate romantic way. And she's gonna fall. She's very precarious right now. Children. They were good when the camera was off. As soon as I turned this on, like, I'm gonna act up. Where are you going? Hold on, I'll be right back. Anyways, so I wanted to talk about that, and like, I think I mentioned it's not easy. It's actually quite difficult to start loving yourself, and I think some of it's rooted in, at least for me anyways, self-confidence. And that's still zoomed in from earlier. Yeah, it was self-confidence. But boy, all right, come on, you guys, come on. Sorry, I had to kick them out. They're just being too distracting. There's too much going on in here for them to break and knock down, and rather that not happen. And anyways, for me it kind of was like kind of rooted in self-confidence, in that, in self-esteem too. I mean, like, for the longest time I didn't like the way I looked, like weight wise. I never thought it was ugly, but I was always like, well, I can lose a little bit of weight if I get muscular and do this. Even like when I was doing Taekwondo and I was at the fittest I've ever been in my life, I still thought I was fat, which I look back now and I'm like, damn girl, you are fit as hell. And now I've grown to love the outside as well. And I think, as superficial as that sounds, I think it helped me, well, yeah, I would say it kind of helped me love the inside too, just because I started thinking of myself as a whole in a better light. When I was just like, well, your thick thighs, like, they save lives. When I started thinking like that, I think I started thinking better about myself mentally and being like, okay, but you know, you're really kind to other people, why not be kind to yourself? And it's like, you love people. I've been like, I've always told my friends, like, I love you. And I tell you guys that every video, after every video, pretty much. I think there's a couple where I haven't, because I was just ranting and mad and like, I'm feeling good. But yeah, so it was like an outside in, and I know a lot of people are like, you need to look inward to love outward, and I'm sure that works for a lot of people, and it's a lot less superficial and shallow. But once I started loving the outside, I started being able to look in the mirror and be like, okay, and then start to be like, you know what, I love you. Just look at it and be like, I love you, you look great, you are great, you're smart, you're intelligent, those are the same things, but you got it, you know, you're working towards your goals. God damn. I'm allergic to those babies. It doesn't stop me from cuddling them. I'll just suffer, it's fine. Also, titties. I keep saying that in like all these videos where I have the cats, that I'm allergic now. Because I haven't processed it yet. It just started. I was like, God damn it, why would you do this to me? I was gonna be an old single lady with cats. Now I have doggos, which is just as good. Still probably have cats, which suffer. It's fine. Anyways. So it's a process, and it's your own process. So like for me, like I said, it was realizing that, you know, my body is beautiful, it is great, You know, if I'm 140 pounds or if I'm 120 pounds, it doesn't matter. I still look good. And that just gave me a better appreciation about myself. And then I was just like, okay, well, you're this badass bitch who has, well, this started, I would say I started doing this in undergrad. So I was working towards my 4-year degree. And it's like, you're working on your 3rd degree, you're in school, you have new great friends that you're going to have the rest of your life. You're learning more about yourself on a whole. You know, you're doing it. And you're doing it for you. And that means makes you great. And I don't mean that in like a narcissistic way. I just in like an honest way of, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I mean, it's easy to tell people love yourself and stuff like that, but it's really hard to do it. And so kind of describing it is difficult because I guess one way is like realizing your flaws and working through them. Like I used to be a very jealous person, and it still flares up every once in a while, but I've been able to be like, okay, there's no reason for that. Nothing's going on. They didn't mean anything by it, you know, calm down. And again, that stems from insecurities that I have to work through and stuff like that. So it's just kind of working with yourself and looking at yourself. Like how I said, you know, I started to change my mindset about how I looked outside, was you kind of go in and look at yourself on the inside, and you start working and processing through like why you're the way you are and trying to figure that out. And I know like therapy is supposed to be able to help with that too, but this is like very a self journey for me. And just like being like, okay, past things, that's what they are. They're in the past. You can't do anything about them except move forward, learn the lesson, make changes, and move forward. And so as long as you're making those changes to becoming a better person, you will slowly start to see you becoming the person you want to be. And that's when you start to fall in love with yourself. You're starting to fall in love with the process. And it's amazing. Like when I did that video, I was just driving home from like Atlanta, I think it was, and a song came on the radio that used to make me cry, and now it doesn't anymore. And I was just like, growth is amazing. Self-growth is so beautiful and amazing, and how a person can grow and from like thinking themselves as a weed into a beautiful flower is just amazing process. I love it when I see it in other people too, and they just become amazing human beings. Not that they weren't already, but they're finally seeing it for themselves, and it's beautiful. And that's like one reason I find it's really easy for me to say I love you to other people, because I love seeing them grow. I love seeing them be successful, and I feel like saying I love you is all encompassing of that. It's like, I love your growth, I love your personality, I love who you are as a being, and I love your success and everything that's going great for you. And even the things that aren't so great, I love those too, because I know you're going to work on them, and you're going to learn more about yourself and continue to grow. And I think it's a beautiful, beautiful thing, and you should love things like that. It's just easier. It's just, so that's why it's so easy for me to say it. And it's definitely easier to say I love me now than it would have been even a year ago, maybe even 6 months ago. So, yeah, and like I said, it takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. And then it may even take like something that used to wear you down, and the realizing it doesn't anymore, to make you see your own growth and see your own worth. And that's a huge part of it. It's just time and self-reflection. So it's just like you work on the outside. You go to the gym, you eat healthy, stuff like that. You go see your doctor, you make sure your body's well, but it's kind of like making sure your soul and your heart are well as well. And just like reflecting, it's like you look in the mirror after you go to the gym, you see process happening. You got to do that on the inside too. You're just like, okay, well, I was really petty and salty about this one thing. Why was that the case? Were those reactions and emotions necessary? Did I need to react that way, or could I have been better? And you like look back on those, and like I said, you take that lesson and be like, okay, well, I really didn't need to be petty. I could have just explained why I felt the way I did and left it at that. And you have to have emotions. Like, you're a human being. It's very important to have emotions, very important to communicate your emotions. But that's the key, communicating, not just being passive aggressive or petty or just salty and expecting people to read your mind, or, snapping at somebody or lashing out because they don't understand what you're going through because you haven't communicated it. And that's something I'm still working on. I've not been great about it. But I've seen my growth, and I've seen it, and I'm turning into a beautiful flower, and hopefully, like, I'll be a garden one day, and I want that beauty to come from the inside out and reflect. I want my character to reflect who I am. And, when I am mentioned to people and be like, oh, she's a nice person, I really like her, as like just a human being. And then, or because I don't want people to come, like friends tell somebody, oh, I have this friend I want you to meet, and maybe they've heard of me through another friend or something, or like they go like, well, she's cool, but she's really a bitch. I don't want that. I mean, like, I'll be a bitch if I have to be, but I don't want that to be my definition, what defines me. I want my character as a good person. And I know I sound narcissistic as hell, but just like shine through and be like, oh yeah, my friend, she's great, she's amazing, blah 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 blah. And that's another thing, like, talk about yourself as you would talk about a good friend. Like how I talk about like my best friend or a lot of my friends who are amazing and wonderful, lovely people. Start talking about yourself like that. And I don't mean it in a narcissistic way. I mean it in this, like, if you talk about your friends, you love your friends, talk how you speak about them to yourself. Like, you're great, you're awesome, you're wonderful, all this and stuff, to build yourself up. And you'll get to a point where it's a lot harder for people to tear you down. Negativity won't affect you as much, because you're just like, it's like when you're in school, I'm rubber, you're glue, whatever you say bounces off of me and sticks to you. Is that the phrase? I don't remember clearly. And stuff like that. Because yes, words hurt. They definitely hurt. But it's how you take that reaction. You can insult back, and I've done this. Like, my instinct is just to tear somebody apart when they insult me or they hurt me. But I'm trying to step away, and I'm not necessarily meaning rise up, because there's some situations where that's not the best option. Most situations, yes, definitely, like, rise up, ignore it, just be like, all right, bye, I'm not dealing with this. But sometimes you're just like, all right, you want to do this? Let's go. But most of the time, it's not. Okay, baby. You had your fun time. Yeah, you did. Uh-huh. You did. They've got plenty of attention today. Don't let them lie to you. But yeah, it's just like a lot of self-love. It's just that. It's self. Right, babe? It's self-reflection, self-boosting, self-confidence, self-esteem, all that, and just kind of helping water yourself and grow yourself. You pull the weed, like when you're tending to a garden, you pull the weeds out. You make sure the good bugs are there and you keep the bad bugs away. And, you water and you watch it grow and progress. And so this is what you got to do for yourself. And I find once you do start, like, before I started living myself, it was still easy for me to tell my friends, I love you. And my friends were like, how can you say that so easily? I'm like, well, it's true. I love you guys. And again, like I said, it's like their whole being, their personalities and everything, their flaws and all. And that's another thing. You have to love yourself, including your flaws. Yes, learn from them, try to work on them, but understand they are still a part of you, and they're just to be as loved just as much as any other part of you. And, you know, just take that into every aspect of your life. And yeah, and you'll see a lot of growth and difference in your life. You'll be happier. And I'm not saying this is like, you're definitely going to have your bad days. You're going to have days where you don't care about yourself, you don't love yourself. And that's okay, because you're a human. That's going to happen, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's what matters is how you come back from it. Right? And just how you, once you start treating yourself better, you do start treating other people better. You might already be one of the nicest people in the world, but you still have some hang-ups. Maybe you distance yourself a lot, or sometimes you're just mean for no reason. And a lot of that can be because of mental health issues, but I'd say this is kind of that too, in a way. Like, self-love is inside, yeah. And not letting depression tell you bullshit lies and stuff like that as well. But it's also important, like, you cut off negative people, so cut off negative thoughts, basically, about yourself. And once you start treating yourself better, you start treating people even better. You start understanding them more. You start being able to communicate better, because you're finally communicating with yourself. And that's a big step into, at least it has been for me, communicating with other people. Yeah, it has. So, yeah. And I feel like I'm just repeating myself at this point, but it does help you grow as a person all around. Helps you with yourself, helps you with others. It makes saying I love you easier. Romantically, that's a whole different ballpark. You gotta, like, space it out, because you want it to be reciprocated, because if it's not, then the relationship's probably gonna end, and you're just like, that's something you just gotta figure out with the relationship and all that. But yeah, I've changed it from to but I guess that's progress in a way. I don't know. But anyways, let me know how your self-love journey is going, and how it's helped you, how you're growing. I'd love to see that progress. If you don't know where to start and you want some tips that this didn't address, which I'm sure it didn't, comment, like, subscribe, all that. If you have any tips, please comment them, and I will see you guys later. I hope you have a great day, and I love you. Bye.